Let's talk about that feeling, that super frustrating feeling when you're trying to speak English and you just get stuck. You know you understand it, so what's going on? Well, you are definitely not alone, and today we're going to get to the bottom of exactly why this happens and, most importantly, what you can do to fix it. You know the moment, right? You're in a conversation, you've got the perfect idea in your head, it's totally clear, but then you open your mouth and poof, nothing. The words are just gone. Your mind just goes completely, totally blank. And this right here, this is the paradox that drives millions of language learners crazy. It doesn't make any sense. You can watch a movie, you can get the jokes, you can read an entire book, but the second it's your turn to talk, it's like all of that knowledge just evaporates. Yeah, we call it the speaking paradox. And it's so confusing because your input skills, you're listening and you're reading, they're probably at a really high level. You've put in the hours, you've consumed so much English. So why on earth isn't that turning into confident, fluent speaking? Okay, so let's figure out what's really going on here. Why does your brain freeze up like that? Here's the secret. It's not because you don't know enough English. Not at all. It's because you're accidentally using the wrong part of your brain for the job. You're trying to use your understanding system to do a speaking task. So here's the first big mistake, and pretty much all of us make it. We treat speaking like it's just knowledge. We think, if I just watch one more TV show or read one more article, I'll magically be able to speak better. But speaking isn't a collection of facts in your head. It's a physical skill, just like playing the piano or riding a bike. And that's because understanding and speaking are two totally different things. See, understanding is passive. You're just taking information in. But speaking, that's active. You have to create something from scratch. You have to produce sound. You have to perform. Your brain is doing completely different work, and that means it needs completely different training. Think about it like this. You could watch football for your entire life, right? You could know every single rule, every player's stats, all the famous strategies. But does that mean you can step out onto the field and play like a professional? No way. You've trained your brain to understand football, but you haven't trained your muscles to actually play it. English is exactly the same. All right, on to the second huge reason you get stuck. I call this the translation trap. And let me tell you, this little mental habit is the #1 killer of fluency. It's that slow, clunky process that's happening in your head just seconds before you try to speak. So, here's what's actually going on. First, you get an idea in your native language. Second, your brain starts frantically searching for all the right English words to translate it. And third, you try to put those words together perfectly, like a puzzle, using all the grammar rules you learned in school. And right there, in the middle of all that mental work, you freeze. You're stuck. But here's the thing. That whole process, that is not how native speakers talk. They're not doing mental translation. They're not thinking about grammar rules. They just talk. They think directly in English, and they use patterns and chunks of words they've used 1,000 times before. It's automatic. It's fast. And that's where we need to get you. Which brings us to the big solution. The most important change you have to make is to train your brain to stop translating and start thinking directly in English. You have to completely bypass that slow internal translation machine. The question is, how do you actually do that? Well, believe it or not, it's probably easier than you think. So now we're moving from the why you get stuck to the how you get unstuck. And we've got a super simple, super practical, 3-step action plan that you can start using literally today to retrain your brain. Here it is, just 3 simple exercises. They're designed specifically to break that bad translation habit and start building the real skill of speaking. We're gonna name things, we're gonna repeat what we hear, and we're gonna learn full phrases. Let's break them down. Okay, step 1. This is the easiest one, and you can do it right now. Just look around you. What do you see? A chair? Say chair. A table? Say table. Phone. Window. That's it. The goal here is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. You are building a direct connection in your brain between the object and its English name. No translation needed. Now for step 2, repeat what you hear. You might have heard this called shadowing. All you do is find a short audio clip, maybe from a movie or a song, and you try to speak at the exact same time as the speaker. The key here is, don't think about the words. Just try to copy the sounds, the rhythm, the music of the language. You're physically training your mouth to make English sounds. And finally, step 3. This one is a total game changer. Stop learning single words, start learning full phrases or chunks. So instead of just memorizing the word decision, you learn the whole phrase, I need to make a decision. See, when you learn like this, you don't have to build sentences from scratch anymore. You just grab the whole block and say it. It makes you so much faster and more natural. So let's put this all together. The real path to speaking fluently isn't about memorizing another 1,000 vocabulary words. It's about changing your entire approach. It's about building a new core habit to finally stop translating and just start speaking. And I really need you to let this sink in. Your struggle was never about you. You're not bad at English. You're not bad at languages. You were just trained the wrong way. You were taught a bunch of knowledge, but you were never really taught the skill of speaking. So from this moment on, your first job is to just stop overthinking it. Seriously, your goal is not to be perfect, it's just to communicate. Mistakes are not just okay, they're how you get better. Second, you have to actively fight that translation habit. Every time you do one of those 3 exercises, naming an object, repeating a sound, using a full phrase, you're building a new, faster road in your brain. And the last thing, the most important thing, is you have to actually start speaking. Just do it. Even if it's just one word out loud to yourself in your room. The only way to get better at the skill of speaking is to practice the skill of speaking. That's it. That's the secret. Once you start training the right way, you are going to be amazed at how quickly things change. The words will start to flow. So the only real question left is, are you ready to break the silence?